transportation options and want to address concerns head on.
We want to make sure that this is not only a safe place for people that are in the campus, we want to make sure that it's safe for the surrounding neighborhood and community.
Construction could start next year with doors opening in 2027. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
We will get more reaction to this news from Crossroads Urban Center coming up at 12:15, and we have all the details on the new campus posted at kslnewsradio.com. We are learning more about the tense moments in West Jordan last night where people in a neighborhood had to shelter in place for hours during a SWAT standoff. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Several people in the neighborhood tell us the home where the shooting happened near 1900 West and 7260 South, they had recently gotten a new group of renters, and the homeowner was there when an unwelcome guest refused to leave. That's when they say there was talk of a gun being pulled. Police were called. Joy Newbold says police used a loudspeaker and tried for hours to get the man to come out, but everyone knew when the police went in.
There was some that sounded like a gunshot, some sounded more like an explosion.
The suspect ended up being shot and killed.
We are waiting for police to give us an update on the investigation and release that suspect's name. Breaking news on KSL News Radio. Several cases of West Nile virus in humans are now being reported in counties along the Wasatch Front, and at least one person has died from it. In Davis County, there are 3 reported cases. 1 person died, 2 others have been hospitalized, and the Utah County Health Department is now reporting 5 probable cases in humans. Health officials say most of these cases are neuroinvasive, which is a more serious version of the illness. Mosquito abatement crews will be applying targeted treatments in neighborhoods where the cases have been identified, but they are also telling people to take extra precautions to protect themselves from mosquitoes right now. KSL's top national stories. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his supporters are hitting back after recent criticism of his leadership decisions at the CDC. Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, a medical doctor, says they need to give Kennedy a chance.
People are going to try and make this something more than it is. I'm not presupposing anyone is right or wrong. I am saying we got to get to the truth because there's serious allegations. And so that will take radical transparency.
At least 9 former CDC directors have said Kennedy's actions are endangering Americans' health, especially when it comes to vaccine policies and the recent firing of the CDC director. State of Florida is now working to phase out all childhood vaccine mandates. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis announced that their state-level Make America Healthy Again campaign. Now, the state surgeon general stated that people should have the right to decide what they put in their bodies. However, Democratic leaders in the state say this will lead to a public health disaster. It could be getting harder and more expensive to get long-lasting insulin in Utah. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Manufacturer Biocon is phasing out several brand name products, but that means it could be more of a hassle getting a different brand approved by insurance.
Unfortunately, folks might have to, talk with their insurance company and make sure that another product is covered.
Associate Chief Pharmacy Officer Erin Fox with University of Utah Health says she doesn't think it will be an availability issue since there are multiple producers, and Biocon will likely keep producing an unbranded product. Outreach lead for Insulin for All, Stephanie Arsenault, says variety is still extremely important.
Different insulins will work differently for different people with diabetes.
More than anything, it could create a dent in the market and drive up demand for other brands. That could result in some people paying more. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Masks are back at the VA hospital in Salt Lake City. They're now mandatory for employees and volunteers over the next 2 weeks. It comes after the hospital saw a spike in COVID cases and other respiratory viruses. Veterans and visitors are encouraged to wear them, but they will not be monitored. Other national stories KSL is following. Despite pushback from Chicago's mayor and Illinois' governor, President Trump says that we are going into Chicago in his latest crackdown on crime. ABC's Mary Bruce has details.
Illinois Governor J.D. Pritzker says Chicago doesn't want or need the National Guard, saying Trump just wants to put on a show. Chicago officials say violent crime is down nearly 22% in the past year.
Governor Pritzker is promising that he would fight this in court, especially after a judge's ruling in California made it clear that the government cannot use the military for law enforcement. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Right now, we are seeing kind of a quiet drive. We do have a small accident being cleared in South Salt Lake, northbound I-15, just after 33rd South on the right shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Today, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show today from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
Find incredible end-of-summer savings at the Scandinavian Designs Labor Day sale. For a limited time, save up to 70% off designs for every room in your home at the Ogden or Murray showrooms or ScandinavianDesigns.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, one person has died. Several others have been hospitalized in Davis and Utah counties after they contracted West Nile virus from mosquitoes. KSL News Time, 12:07. The man who was allegedly driving the wrong way on I-15 in Beaver County yesterday to escape from police is now facing several charges. Police documents say authorities tried to pull over 25-year-old Adarian Morell in a black Lexus SUV for speeding, but he's accused of fleeing, then going the wrong way up I-15. Police were eventually able to pin the SUV to get him to stop. They later realized the car was stolen from California and had drugs in it. Morell now faces 13 charges. We have new information this morning on a shooting in Ogden that left 3 people injured over the weekend.
Jesus Quadras and his daughter enjoyed going to street racing events, his wife says in a GoFundMe post. His 5-year-old daughter was on his shoulders when he was shot in the head and her leg was hit. KSL.com reports he has been left brain dead and his wife is preparing for his death. Police say shots were fired after 2 women started fighting and their partners got involved, shooting 15 bullets into the air that ended up fatally hitting Quadras, injuring his daughter and 1 other person. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Park City real estate agents are now being offered gun handling and safety classes, with more and more agents fearing for their safety. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
It turns out thousands of real estate agents every year are falling victims to crimes like assaults, robberies, or even murders around the country, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The president of the Park City Board of Realtors tells the Park Record they had multiple realtors come to them and ask for gun training. They ultimately voted and approved 2 new courses. One deals with basic safety and handling. The other focuses on the basics of shooting.
The president of the board says they know that these classes aren't for everyone, and they are not taking a stance on gun ownership by offering them. People in Midvale had a surprise over the weekend when a fugitive fell through their ceiling. Police had been looking for Jeremy Jensen Sunday evening when investigators say decided to escape by crawling into an apartment building attic. Peyton Grace lives in the building, tells KSL-TV the suspect crashed through the ceiling in the apartment next door.
Then I hear a yell. He's like, "Get your hands on the ground. Get your hands on the ground or we're going to tase you in the." Okay.
Jensen was arrested and booked into the Salt Lake County Jail. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. What's going on, Ricky?
One small accident, and it's in the cleanup stages. Northbound to I-15. It's about halfway between 33rd South and 2100 South. Caused a little bit of slowing just in that area, but it's really out of traffic on the shoulder, and it's not going to cause any more problems. It's probably only going to be there another few minutes, and then we'll be back to a crash-free commute. The rest of the Valley freeways and main secondaries are seeing a quiet drive. Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts with GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll feel like summer yet again today. Look for a high of 93, partly cloudy skies. 67 overnight, partly cloudy. Mix of sunshine and a couple of clouds tomorrow, 88. 86, partly cloudy on your Friday. Gives way to afternoon storm chances Saturday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And we do have a lot of sunshine right now in downtown Salt Lake City, and it is 86 degrees. And still to come on Midday with Maria Shilaos. We're getting a reaction on the announcement of Salt Lake City's new homeless campus from Crossroads Urban Center, which works with those struggling with homelessness every day. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or low back pain, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And here's Dennis.
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. Good Feet just took that pain away, and I could do my job, and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive, and it's gonna be pain-free.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. Walk-ins are always welcome. Or find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with the Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
KSL News Time 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
people in a West Jordan neighborhood describe what it was like sheltering in place for hours until a SWAT standoff ended with a barrage of gunfire. I'm KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson.
Second, one person has died. Several others have been hospitalized because of West Nile virus in Davis and Utah counties. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Final cleanup of a small accident northbound I-15 after 33rd South. It is out of traffic over on the right shoulder. The rest of your Valley freeways are seeing a good drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecasting a hot 93 today, then a cool down. I'm Matt Johnson.
88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A first-in-the-nation announcement from Florida Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo alongside Governor Ron DeSantis.
The Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them.
Why?
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Governor DeSantis says some vaccine mandates will be ended immediately. Joining at least 4 Republican lawmakers, Democrats, and others in calling for full public release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, alleged victims, and others at Washington rallies today. House Speaker Mike Johnson's lukewarm, saying it's about victim privacy. In Washington, alleged victim Liz Stein.
As survivors, we're initiated into a sisterhood. We're in a sorority that none of us asked to join. But we all stand here today strong, stronger together because our collective voice is powerful.
Circulating a petition to have the Justice Department release all the Epstein files, Congressman Thomas Massey, Kentucky Republican, ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Late last night, 3 Republicans signing on to Massey's effort. That's a direct rebuke to President Trump, who's been clear he wants his party to move on from this issue. Massey telling me yesterday about President Trump that he thinks he can make this, quote, go away by telling people there's nothing there. But Massey saying this is, quote, bigger than President Trump.
The last of 5 defendants to plead guilty in the ketamine overdose death of Matthew Perry has done so in Los Angeles today. Jasveen Sangha, who allegedly sold the drug to Perry. Israeli drones dropped 4 grenades close to UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon near the border with Israel as they were working to clear roadblocks, says the UN force. Nobody hurt, they say. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The state is buying more than 15 acres designed to be a homeless service campus. The planned facility will provide about 1,300 beds and access to resources for addiction, recovery, employment, and criminal justice assistance. Joining me now live is Bill Tibbetts, the Deputy Executive Director for Crossroads Urban Center. Thank you for being with me, Bill. Give us your reaction to this news.
Well, we've been wondering we knew that there was going to be a site announced sometime this year, and so it's good to see where it is. It's not as distant as some of the other locations. I think the concern that there are a couple concerns. I mean, one is that none of the construction of the new facility isn't fully funded, and the services that would be provided are also not funded, and so. When they built the shelters we have right now, there was a talk about having a lot of services on site that ended up not happening, and so I think it's up in the air how transformational it is. I think one really big problem is that the nearest bus stop to the shelter is 2.5 miles away. I think if people have to walk for an hour to get to a homeless shelter, they're not going to go there. And so the transportation is really something they're going to need to figure out in a way that works consistently.
I asked that question earlier today of the homeless coordinator, and he said that there is a shuttle service that would be used.
There's a shuttle service that connects the homeless shelters that we already have.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Mm-hmm.
And it provides a surprisingly few number of rides each day. Scaling it up is going to be hard. I think what we'd like to see at Crossroads Urban Center is to have the UTA route that runs along Redwood Road run further north so that people can use that to access, to connect into the UTA system, and then to have some sort of pass program for people so that they can get everywhere they need to go and not just to a place where they'll end up having to use the bus anyway.
Bill, will Crossroads be among the service providers for this campus?
No, we have 2 emergency food pantries where we're serving over 13,000 people a month, but we just serve, and so a lot of the people we serve are homeless, but we are not. We're not going to be running a big shelter like that.
Right. I understand your concerns, but if this turned out the way they had planned, isn't this a good thing?
Oh, I think nobody should be sleeping outside in the winter, right? And so coming up with shelter beds is good. I just think realistically, there are going to be you want people at a shelter to leave the shelter to look for work, to look for apartments, and so it's really important that you have that transportation is one of the most important services people need.
All right, Bill. Any final thoughts for us?
I will. There are a whole bunch of details that we still don't know and that really haven't been worked out. So hopefully, KSL will keep on following this. We're really grateful that you're looking and that you're tracking it now.
Appreciate your help. Thanks for being with me.
Okay.
That is Bill Tibbetts. He's the Deputy Executive Director for the Crossroads Urban Center. Let's get you up to date with the drive. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Nice and quiet for the most part on the Valley freeways for your noontime drive. The one accident we've had has been northbound I-15 in South Salt Lake, just after 33rd South. What's left of that accident, along with a trooper, are over to the right shoulder and out of traffic. So no delays there. Our main secondaries are also seeing a quiet commute. For the most part, you have a good drive on the Bangerter Highway, Redwood Road, State Street, 7th East. If you are headed north, right now, quiet through the construction zone on I-15, and that's from Roy into Riverdale and Ogden. Get tickets for Sharing Aloha, the movie. See the trailer. Enter to win a Hawaiian getaway from Hawaiian Air and Marriott Courtyard, Oahu. 45 plus entries per person possible. SharingAlohaTheMovie.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Feeling summer-like again today. 93, partly cloudy skies. 88 tomorrow, partly cloudy. Mixture of sun and clouds, 86 on Friday. Saturday, 82. Chance for storms in the afternoon. We'll bring a slight chance of storms on Sunday, 84. Headed into Monday, Tuesday next week, more mid-80s, but plenty of sunshine. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 88 degrees. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. The Dow taking a big hit today, down by about 0.5%, more than 200 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
KSL News Time 1226. The Los Angeles drug dealer who police say provided the ketamine that killed Friends star Matthew Perry has entered a plea of guilty in federal court in Los Angeles. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Nearly 2 years after Matthew Perry's overdose on the drug ketamine, the woman who provided the fatal dose to an intermediary and then to Perry's assistant has now changed her plea to guilty. Jasveen Sangha, who admitted in the plea to supplying drugs to a man who died of an overdose in 2019, prosecutors allege she was a high-end drug dealer in L.A. Matthew Perry allegedly turned to Sangha after it became too expensive to get ketamine from two doctors who were selling it to him. All 5 defendants accused in Perry's death have now pleaded guilty. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Watching Utah's money, less people are buying beer. Constellation, the importer for Corona and Modelo, says net sales are looking bleak with a decline of 2 to 4%. Fox Business reports beer brands are having a harder time attracting customers. Disney is paying a $10 million fine after the FTC claimed the company's YouTube channel mislabeled videos. The mislabeled videos allegedly allowed for the collection of personal data from children under 13 years old. Summer box office numbers disappointed this year. The New York Times reports domestic revenue fell to its lowest point since before the pandemic, with $1.6 billion. Many of the last 6 summers made more than $2 billion. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 213 points, sitting at 45,081. S&P 500 up by 7. The NASDAQ, it's up by 126 points. The Museum of Utah will open next summer, but something famous will take up residency there. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports it's something known for speed.
The iconic Mormon meteor will be a permanent fixture in the new museum. For decades, it was on the ground floor of the state capitol, where it fell into disrepair. Museum Director Tim Glenn says it underwent a major renovation and will be featured in the Inspiring Utah Gallery and actually come to life a couple of times a year.
Semi-regularly pull the car out of the building, start it up, and hear the engine roar just to get things moving and keep it in working order. So that'll be a really fun event.
The Mormon meteor was built and raced by Ab Jenkins in 1937. Glenn says many amazing speed records were set by the car, which put Utah on the global map. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Beese.
Back to a crash-free commute. The one accident that we had northbound on I-15 just after 33rd South over to the right shoulder has been cleared. All the Valley freeways are seeing light traffic, good speeds, and no other problems. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for a high of 93 today, partly cloudy skies. We'll go 67 overnight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, 88 the high. Friday, 86, partly cloudy. Then a chance for storms possible Saturday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 88 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. We are hearing from the wife of a Utah violinist that's been in ICE custody in Colorado for weeks. If all goes well, their attorney says he could be back in Utah in a matter of days. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the story.
He's probably the most optimistic person I've ever met in my life. It is really hard to get John Shin down.
Danae Snow says the past 2 weeks in ICE detention have been rough for her husband of 4 years, John Shin.
He doesn't have a pillow. He doesn't have a blanket. There's no access to outdoors.
But yet somehow she says John's still keeping his spirits high and even focusing on others.
He said there's a few just like 18-year-old kids there who have no family and have no support, and he's been trying to look out for them.
And pending a long shot filing by federal immigration prosecutors, John's attorneys tell me he could be out on bond and back in Utah as soon as Friday. After all that they've been through, Danae says,
I'll be so excited to bring him home.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The owner of two of the largest internet pornography sites has agreed to implement a robust program to remove and prevent child sexual abuse material. The Attorney General announced today that ALO reached the agreement with the state of Utah and the Federal Trade Commission and has agreed to pay a penalty of $5 million to resolve claims of unconscionable and deceptive business practices. A gymnastics coach will serve at least 25 years in prison after he was found guilty of inappropriately filming minors. Police say Adam Richard Jacobs is a partial owner of USA Gymnastics World in Woods Cross, and he placed hidden cameras in the bathroom to get the footage. In his plea deal, Jacobs said the footage was for himself. KSL's top national stories. Rallies are being held in Washington today by survivors and others demanding the full public release of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Sky Roberts is the brother of Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim who died from suicide earlier this year. He says his sister would have wanted full transparency.
The Epstein documents must be unsealed. Every name, every detail. No more secrets, no more protection for those who preyed on the vulnerable.
However, President Trump is downplaying the importance of releasing the full files.
I think it's enough because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from two people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
He says the DOJ is cooperating with the House Oversight Committee. Epstein died in 2019 in a death that was ruled by suicide, while awaiting his federal sex trafficking trial. A bipartisan group of lawmakers are pushing for legislation that would force the DOJ to release all the files. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. President Trump is taking the next step to try and keep his tariffs alive. This time, the nation's highest court is being consulted.
The president is saying that he is going to ask the Supreme Court as soon as today to overturn a federal appeals court decision that found many of his punishing tariffs were illegal, saying he's going to ask them for an expedited ruling. Trump claims that the U.S. economy will suffer if he's not allowed to impose these tariffs and wage his trade war, but the federal appeals court found that the president greatly overstepped his authorities.
That is ABC's Mary Bruce reporting. A Utah judge is denying lawmakers' request for a stay in a case involving the state's congressional district maps. The judge has already ordered lawmakers to draw new boundary lines based on the Better Boundaries ballot initiative. State Senator Todd Weiler tells Inside Sources this ruling will require lawmakers to call a special session to figure out how they plan to redraw the maps.
We don't have a committee right now, so will we form a committee for the next 30 or 40 days? Maybe. I think that's going to be up to legislative leadership.
Lieutenant Governor's office has said lawmakers could submit the maps as late as November 10th and still be ready for next year's midterms. Reservoir levels are noticeably low, and state officials say since early June they've lost about 20%, but there is no reason for worry just yet. Drought coordinator Laura Haskell tells KSL TV this isn't too unusual, but drought conditions will need to change from this point forward.
It also depends actually on how good the fall is, because if our soil stays really, really dry, then even a good winter won't have as much water to get to our streams and our lakes.
They say a heavy snow winter could make a big difference, but if there is a little snowpack, there could be water restrictions next year. Flex lanes are coming to a major road in Utah County. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly explains.
Drivers in Saratoga Springs and Lehigh hope to soon have relief from the congestion that happens every day on Pioneer Crossing. UDOT spokesman John Gleason says the median will be removed so a flex lane can be added for travel.
By putting in the flex lanes, we're providing an almost immediate benefit. This project's going to be wrapped up in about a year's time.
The flex lane alternates the direction of travel drivers can go depending on the time of day. Gleason says the travel lanes should improve congestion for about a decade, and they have a long-term study happening now to look at the future of growth in Northwest Utah County. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Time now for First Look Traffic, and here's Ricky Meese.
All quiet along the Wasatch Front Valley Freeway. Traffic rolling along, no problems on your main secondaries. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:36.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Our Labor Day clearance sale is here through September 6th. Clearance savings on hot tubs, swim spas, all-weather pools, cold tubs, and saunas. Here's the scoop. One of the most coveted options for the Arctic Spa is called Smart Top, the easiest cover to open and close. So easy, you can do it with just 2 fingers, no joke. The Smart Top is normally $4,000, but you get it for free. You get the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate, a hybrid heating system that will cut your electric bill in half, automatic natural salt water, automatic pH control, remote control from your smartphone, the longest warranty, a free Smart Top Easy Open hardcover, and a clearance sale to save you money. For hot tubs, swim spas, all-weather pools, cold tubs, and saunas, check out Arctic Spas now through September 6th. Visit ArcticSpasUtah.com or one of our 3 Arctic Spa stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate, and now on sale too.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, Utah is planning a 1,300-bed homeless services campus on Salt Lake City's west side. They're also addressing questions about safety, transportation, and its impact on nearby neighborhoods. KSL News Time, 12:38. It's official. Buc-ee's is coming to Utah. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
These travel centers are loved all over the South, and they're massive. This one, set to open in Springville at 1400 North and 2600 West, will be about 74,000 square feet with about 120 fuel pumps. It will be filled with snacks, drinks, original food dishes, and of course, merchandise for their beaver mascot. It's also anticipated to boost the economy, bringing more than 200 full-time jobs to the area. It will probably take about a year before the company even breaks ground on the store. So for now, you'll have to wait. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Utah schools are getting their largest distribution ever from the School Land Trust. Details from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
Schools throughout Utah are getting a total of $111 million this year for use in intervention programs, professional development for educators, reductions in class sizes, and expanded access to technology. The money is distributed to schools on a per-pupil basis, and then a school community council made up of parents, teachers, and principals decide how to use that money for their individual school.
The state's superintendent of public instruction is calling Utah's school land trust program the gold standard in managing these assets. Utahns are flocking to Idaho and Wyoming to play the Powerball lottery, with the jackpot now up to $1.3 billion.
A lot of people just want to be in the pot. You know what I mean? They want to have a chance.
Michael Childers manages Fast Stop, a gas station in Evanston. He tells KSL-TV Utahns make up about 90% of his lotto sales. The next drawing is tonight. You probably don't think of cats when you think about the Aggies, but new research into the origins of the house cat in the Americas has ties to Utah State. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
While excavating a 16th century shipwreck off the coast of Florida, researchers found the bones of an adult cat and a kitten. Researchers say when they analyzed the bones, it looked like one of the cats had been eating similar food as a sailor, possibly suggesting they had been fed and treated like companions. The Utah State University alum helped with the study and tells USU reporters there isn't a lot of research done on cats, partly because their bones can be hard to find.
Generally, cats were brought aboard ships to help keep the number of mice and rats down. That's how they initially arrived in the Americas. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Just got a call from KSL's own Heather Kelly about a closure of southbound Redwood Road near 6200 South in Taylorsville. I'm looking through the traffic cameras, and it did look like at least two right lanes were blocked and traffic was trying to get away from that. Traffic is at least backed up there at 6200 South. Can't see much more than that, but if you are going to be traveling through Taylorsville, be aware that your traffic pattern may be altered as you go from 5400 to 6200 South and then on into the West Jordan area. If you're traveling any of the Valley freeways, no problems reported. Nice and quiet, including I-15 both directions between Ogden and Provo. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, we shoot above the normal again today by 6 to 7 degrees. Today's high, 93, partly cloudy. Overnight, 67. We'll go 88 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Mixture of sun and clouds on your Friday, 86. Slight chance for storms Saturday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 88 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday, we're hearing about more cases of West Nile virus in humans in several of Utah's counties, and one person has died from it. We'll talk to Utah County health officials about it coming up next. Streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
There's a photo my wife took of me, sitting crisscross on the floor playing Legos with my boys. Might not sound like much, but back in 2020, I couldn't get down there without pain, let alone enjoy it. After 16 weeks on soda and 82 pounds gone, that picture means everything. It's proof that I'm not just present in my kid's life, but I'm active, engaged, and I'm healthy. Soda didn't just give me a plan. It gave me a partner, a personal nutritionist, who helped me every step. Through grocery store trips, family vacations, late night cravings, you name it. If you're a parent who wants to be there, not just someday, but right now, go to sodaweightloss.com. Click the Request a Nutritionist callback. That's sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
KSL News Time, 12:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the wife of a Utah violinist in ICE custody says she's so excited her husband could potentially be coming home in a matter of days and says she doesn't know where they'd be without the overwhelming support from the community. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, one of the internet's largest pornography sites is signing an agreement with the state of Utah to remove and prevent child sex abuse materials. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Had a report of southbound traffic Redwood Road blocked in Taylorsville near 6200 South. It looks like it's getting through now. Be aware of officers in that area. And if you're traveling the Valley Freeways, you are good to go. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot and dry today, then a push of monsoon. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A first-in-the-nation announcement that Florida will end all vaccine mandates, even for school kids, from State Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo, alongside Governor Ron DeSantis.
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Joining lawmakers in calling for full public release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, alleged victims and others at Washington rallies today. Marina Lacerda says she was lured into his world at age 14.
I think with Jeffrey Epstein, it starts somewhere, but then it ends with either you having sex with him, whether you like it or not.
The last of the 5 defendants to plead guilty in the ketamine overdose death of Matthew Perry has done so. Jasveen Sangha, who allegedly sold the drug to Perry. U.S. employers posting 7.2 million job openings at the end of July, says the Labor Department, fewer than economists predicted. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Several cases of West Nile virus have been reported in humans across Utah. In Davis County, we're hearing that there has been 1 death and 2 hospitalizations. And in Utah County, there are 5 cases, 4 of which are the more serious neuroinvasive version of the illness. Joining me now live is Aislinn Tolman-Hill, spokesperson for the Utah County Health Department. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, first of all, tell us what we know about these reported cases.
Yes, what we do know is that these cases, we learned about them all really pretty quickly within a matter of about 3 days. So we learned about them pretty quickly, and they are spread out all across Utah County.
Okay. Can you tell us, I know that you can't give us specifics, but can you give us an idea? Are they younger or older? Do they have prior health issues, anything like that?
That I actually don't know.
Okay. So what are your concerns now that you have 3 quick cases like this?
Sure. So when we have cases come in really pretty quickly, and we've also seen with our mosquito abatement efforts as we are testing mosquito pools, we are also seeing positive West Nile mosquito pools all across Utah County, and we're also seeing that in the rest of the state. Those numbers are a lot higher than one we would like to see, and they're much higher than we've seen in previous years. It's a major concern, obviously for the public and just for health in general. So it's something that we are definitely concerned about. And with the cases, one of the things that is quite concerning is, 4 of the 5 cases that we have are neuroinvasive. So that means really it's attacking the brain and the nervous system of those patients. So that is very concerning.
What are the county's mosquito abatement crews doing about this?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we do is we work very closely with the affected patients' surrounding areas, and we go out and our crews do targeted surveillance. So we want to make sure, are there any areas of standing water, in the areas that they live around? We also do some investigation to see, is this something that they might have contracted in the area that they live, or is it something that they might have gotten in another area? Have they been out, to a sporting event or something of that nature? So we really talk and work with either the patient or their family, because sometimes with a neuroinvasive case, they might not be able to talk to us if they're hospitalized. Sometimes patients become confused and they're not able to communicate with us. So it's a real struggle sometimes, but we do work very closely with the patients, with their families, and we go out and we do targeted assessments, and then we're able to increase the treatments around those affected areas.
Yeah, you mentioned that sometimes you're not able to talk to these folks. I mean, what are some of these symptoms? How does somebody know if they have contracted West Nile virus?
That's a great question. Sometimes the symptoms can be tricky. They can be kind of common symptoms like fever, headache, body aches, nausea, vomiting. We can see swollen lymph nodes or a skin rash. But, some of the other symptoms that can be, some of the telltale symptoms are like confusion. So some of those things, especially this time of year, this really is the height of West Nile virus season. Definitely that's something where we would want people to be, talking with a healthcare provider very quickly, especially if you're seeing that in a family member and maybe that they have been outdoors, especially dawn and dusk, and maybe they're not great about putting on a repellent or wearing long sleeves or pants. And you know what? We don't judge. But that's just something that, be aware of that and start communicating with a healthcare provider. Definitely a good idea to do that.
You mentioned the risk at dawn and dusk and putting on long sleeve and long pants. What are some other things we can do to protect ourselves?
Great question. Especially around our homes, it's a really good thing to, walk around your home, walk around those spaces, see what opportunities there are around your home for standing water. Mosquitoes can breed in very, very small environments, really small areas for standing water, small containers, bird baths, flower pots, kiddie pools, small, just random cans that we might have on our properties. Making sure that we don't have standing water is one of the best things that we can do on an individual basis. Knowing if we do have an immunocompromised person in our families, making sure that we are being extra cautious and taking precautions for them is also a great thing that we can do. Being aware of repellent. If we are going outside, going to a sporting event, or just, enjoying the outdoors, making sure that we are using those EPA-approved repellents is another great precaution that we can take.
All right. Thanks so much for being with me. That is Aislinn Tolden-Hill, spokesperson for the Utah County Health Department, talking about these new cases of West Nile virus that have popped up. Let's get you up to date with traffic and weather. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Well, we thought we had a little bit of busy traffic southbound I-15 going through Murray from about 3900 south to 53rd south, but that's already eased up. So Valley Freeway traffic remains in great shape, and that includes I-15 in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. Now, we've had some busy traffic, especially where there's construction in West Valley City on both 5600 West and Mountain View Corridor, 3500, 3100 South. No major delays, though, so that's the good news. From system install to fast fixes to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast calling for 93 today, partly cloudy skies, definitely on the warm side. 88 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. We love the cooler weather. Even cooler on Friday there, partly cloudy skies, 86. Saturday, 82 degrees with a chance for afternoon storms. Slight chance on Sunday, 84. We dry things out with mid-80s and sunshine both Monday and Tuesday of next week. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy and 70 degrees downtown. 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. You know, the struggle to lose weight, it's real, and to keep it off is real too. And that's why I'm so grateful to have had the help from Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I lost more than 40 pounds with this great program, and they really teach you how to maintain your weight as well. This is an all-natural program, so if you've been doing your research and you're thinking, hey, I need to take off those pounds, it's an all-natural program. You have to worry about any sort of side effects. It's less expensive than many other programs because you don't have a bunch of extra stuff that you need to buy. And they give you the resources you need to be successful. They have a great app. It keeps you accountable. It allows you to reach out to get help whenever you need it, whenever you need it. They don't bug you or anything like that. And it gives you great inspiration and great recipes to keep you on track. Again, I've lost more than 40 pounds. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Learn how you can save $200 right now at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Hour. A quick check of your money. The Dow right now is down by 227 points, about 0.5%. S&P up by 5 points. The NASDAQ up by 113.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. in season or out, at every fill-up or when you store. Start with Stable.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
A little bit of backup northbound I-15 in the Farmington area. A KSL traffic trooper giving us a heads up of a UHP slowdown going just past Lagoon on the way to Kaysville. And those are usually done if there's debris in the road or they need to take care of a disabled vehicle, get it out of traffic. A variety of numbers, but it does look like traffic is going to start moving. Once again, they're wrapping up that slowdown. The little bit of backup it caused back to the Highway 89 merge is already quickly beginning to disappear. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy, 88 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale. KSL Salt Lake City. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A step in ending homelessness in Utah coming to a now empty field north of the Salt Lake International Airport. Out of nothing, a kind of homeless campus set to provide support and resources for Utah's homeless community.
We want to make sure that this is not only a safe place for people that are in the campus, we want to make sure that it's safe for the surrounding neighborhood and community.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, September 3rd. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we will speak with the state homelessness coordinator about the challenges of building a massive facility like this in a relatively remote part of the Wasatch Front. Also this hour,
the only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say.
Survivors of the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking ring speaking out today, calling on the DOJ and the White House to release all of the files relating to the cases. But first, our top stories. One person has now died from the West Nile virus in Utah. The disease has been reported in counties along the Wasatch Front. One died in Davis County, and 2 others were hospitalized. In Utah County, there have now been 5 cases. It could be harder to get affordable long-lasting insulin. Manufacturer Biocon is phasing out some typically cheaper branded versions of that drug. Associate Chief Pharmacy Officer Aaron Fox with the University of Utah Health says it could cause some problems with insurance.
Patients could run into a situation where they might have to pay a higher copay for a month because, if their preferred product is not available.
Fox doesn't think it will cause a supply issue because there are multiple manufacturers. Outreach lead for Insulin for All, Stephanie Arsenault, says that she hopes it doesn't affect prices.
About 1 out of 3 individuals ration their insulin due to its unaffordability. Insulin is one of the most expensive liquids in the world.
It still has the potential to put a dent in the market and drive up demand for other brands. Our top national story from ABC News. As Florida prepares to end all vaccine mandates, California, Oregon, and Washington are banding together to offer their own vaccine guidelines separate from the federal government.
The governors of California, Oregon, and Washington say they need to provide their citizens with consistent, science-backed recommendations for vaccines in the face of what they call inconsistent federal guidance and an erosion of trust in federal health agencies. They argue the CDC is being politically dismantled, so they're forming a new group they're calling the West Coast Health Alliance. The alliance will offer unified vaccine recommendations set by the 3 states. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump is defending the U.S. military for a strike on a boat off the coast of Venezuela that killed 11 people. The Venezuelan government claimed the evidence that the U.S. had to strike the vessel, a drug video, was generated by AI. The president denies this.
We have tapes of them speaking. It was massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people. And everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat. and they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again, and I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape.
The president says the U.S. was justified in hitting that boat. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 234 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 45,061. S&P, it's up by 5 points. The NASDAQ up by 118 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Right now, we are looking at good speeds on all the Valley freeways. We had a UHP slowdown taking place northbound I-15 in Farmington. That has cleared and everything back to normal. The music of Phil Collins and Genesis comes to life like never before. From the pulse of In the Air Tonight to the power of Take Me Home. Tickets at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 93 degrees, no chance of rain, 88 tomorrow, but that chance of rain creeps in on Friday where the high is 86 and a 10% chance of showers and a 40% chance for Saturday. Right now, 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Up to $100 in bonus rewards available at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Is it me, or is it musty?
Oh, damp. Check the bathroom.
Damp! Wait!
Yeah?
I'm ordering Damp Rid!
Get rid of the damp by trapping excess moisture with Damp Rid.
Back to school shopping. It's basically like a sport. The kids want new shoes, new jeans, new colors, new everything. And honestly, they're not wrong. They've grown. Their style has changed. And apparently, last year's hoodie is embarrassing. So we make a quick trip to the mountains. Junction Commons Park City has cooler temps, fresh air, and way better deals. Sneakers? We hit Nike Factory, Adidas, and Vans Outlet. Clothes? Abercrombie & Fitch, American Eagle, Gap Factory, J. Crew Factory, Buckle, all the brands they want without draining my wallet. And while they're shopping, I get a little mountain escape, a latte in hand, cool breeze, and a few peaceful moments to myself. Honestly, it's the kind of back-to-school tradition I can get behind.
Junction Commons Park City. Cooler temps, hotter deals, and one very relieved parent.
A major step forward today in the goal of ending homelessness. The state announcing a plan to build a campus of services for those experiencing homelessness. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It'll be built on 15 acres of land just west of I-215 and north of the Salt Lake International Airport. State Homeless Coordinator Wayne Niederhauser joined me to talk about the new campus, which is designed to complement the existing homeless resource centers.
Yeah, it's an effort that we've been engaged in for several months, probably even a couple of years. We recognized a couple of years ago when we were providing temporary beds up towards 1,000 through the winter and extending through the summer that we needed additional shelter beds so that we weren't having to ramp up every winter. And so we knew that the system needed those beds, but we wanted them to be more than just beds. We want this to be more transformative for people having opportunities and access to things that will help them on a pathway to thriving. That's mental health, addiction, other types of services and opportunities. We've, this isn't a new idea. Haven of Hope in San Antonio, Nevada Cares in Reno, they use a campus model. I know there's some concern out there about are we switching from the scattered sites to a more centralized situation? Actually, there are pros and cons to both. And with the centralized campus, we'll have the positives of both remote sites or scattered sites and a central campus.
This particular parcel of land that has been purchased, nearly 16 acres near 2250 North and 2200 West, describe why that was selected.
Well, we knew we needed a large piece of property, and there's not a lot of parcels that big in the area where we were looking, which was the Salt Lake County and mainly towards the north. And so we knew that it'd be difficult to find a large piece of property. The parcels that are left are usually they have some kind of an issue like environmental. It's an old landfill. There's a lot of that out there. It has some environmental or seismic issues. What about wetlands? And although this property, it does have a small amount of wetlands, it's something we'll be able to mitigate. And so once we did our due diligence on this property, it marked all the boxes for us. And so we are now under contract with Salt Lake City to purchase that property. And there'll still be more work to be done. There's still more work to be done where we'll need to fund both the construction and the operations of a campus.
You described the number of services you hope to provide, but could you kind of describe the facility, the campus for us? How many people do you hope to help with this campus, and how do you envision this hub?
Our preliminary studies is that we'll have, initially, 1,300 additional beds. We know we need at least 1,000 and more because we have a fairly significant unsheltered population in Salt Lake County, and we want to have places for everybody to go. Society should not accept that people are living in places unfit for human habitation because of the sanitation issues, the criminal activity that usually goes with that. People are abused. We don't want people living in those places. We want to have a place for everybody. That's kind of the genesis of having these additional beds. But we don't want them we just don't want to shelter folks either. We want to give them the opportunities they need to, get on a pathway to get out of homelessness.
I am trying to envision this particular parcel that's out on 2200 West and 2520 North. Are there a lot of homes? I mean, how do homeowners feel about this?
Well, there are some homeowners there, but there's not very many. It's more of a commercial area. I-215 is right next to this property adjacent, and there's some warehouses that are adjacent to the property. There are some residents that are a little further to the north. And of course, people are going to be concerned, but we're concerned also. We want to make sure that this is not only a safe place for people that are in the campus and receiving those services. We want to make sure that it's safe for the surrounding neighborhood and community.
I'm trying to envision how people would get out to this campus. You mentioned I-215, but how would those who are unsheltered, how would they get there?
We have a shuttle system right now that we work between the homeless resource centers in Salt Lake County. We have how many? Like 6 different shelters now from Sandy to Salt Lake. We do run a shelter system, so we're experienced in the transportation of people around the campus. And so this is just a matter of expanding it to that location just northeast of the airport.
They hope to start construction next year and have the campus up and running in 2027. You can get updates about the campus at homelesscampus.utah.gov. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
In Washington, D.C., rallies today in support of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking, survivors sharing their stories and pleading with the DOJ and the White House to release the files in their entirety. Some members of Congress also pushing for a full release of the files. Marina Lacerda, one of the survivors, speaking out for the very first time.
I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was, until he finally told me that I was too old.
Here's what another survivor had to say.
I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. The days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. For me, the turning point was when I had my daughter. And on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children.
Republican Thomas Massie is one of the 2 lawmakers leading the charge and thanks the 3 other Republicans, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace, who have signed a petition forcing legislation on the issue.
These are women standing up for women, and Marjorie was the first to do it. And I think she deserves all of our gratitude for breaking that barrier and leading the way for the other Republicans. Hopefully they can find their spines as well.
At the rally, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking out for transparency and full accountability.
I ask my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice and transparency and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency.
President Trump also responding to the comments and calls for more files to be released during a Q&A session in the Oval Office this morning, saying the whole thing is a Democrat hoax.
From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having.
Some Republican legislators have also said that releasing the full files would be a disservice to the victims who don't want to relive the experiences. Epstein died in 2019 in a death that was ruled by suicide while awaiting his federal sex trafficking trial. The wife of the Utah violinist in ICE custody speaking today about the experience working through the immigration process and how it's affected her family. That conversation is up next. But first, KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
A small accident in Parley's Canyon, eastbound I-80 in the Mountaindale area near SR 65 Immigration Canyon, but out of traffic on the shoulder, so no delay. Put your energy into the fight song, not fighting for parking. You win when you take UTA to the game. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are hearing from the wife of a Utah violinist that's been in ICE custody in Colorado for weeks. If all goes well, their attorney says he could be back in Utah in a matter of days. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the story.
He is just a bright light. I know that's cheesy for me to say too, but I really mean it. And I think the community who's been writing letters, you can see that there's consistency, that everyone would say the same thing. He's probably the most optimistic person I've ever met in my life. It is really hard to get John Shin down. He is always looking on the bright side. He is always so encouraging and loving, and just has the brightest outlook on life.
Danae Snow says the past 2 weeks in ICE detention have been rough for her husband of 4 years, John Shin.
He doesn't have a pillow. He doesn't have a blanket. There's no access to outdoors. There's no courtyard. There's nothing outside at all. It is all completely contained. They have lockdowns and counts multiple times a day. It takes about 2 or 3 hours to wait in line for a microwave to just get a cup of ramen. Yeah, it's not great. The food is, and not good from what he's told me, and I'm sure he's not wanting me to worry because that's the type of person he is. So I'm sure he hasn't even told me the worst parts.
But yet somehow she says John's still keeping his spirits high and even focusing on others.
From when he has been able to call, he said there's a few just 18-year-old kids there who have no family and have no support, and he's been trying to look out for them. The ones that he's most worried about, they're just 18, super young. He hasn't seen any younger than 18, I don't think. But he said that was really hard for him because he feels so lucky that he has such support and a family and people that care about him and are looking out for him. So he just worries about these young kids and is trying to do his best in there to be a comfort to them, which again is just the type of person he is.
And pending a long shot filing by federal immigration prosecutors, John's attorneys tell me he could be out on bond and back in Utah as soon as Friday. After all that they've been through, Danae says,
I'll be so excited to bring him home.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A potentially dangerous chemical found in gel nail polish has just been banned in the EU, and it's forcing beauty companies here in America to take a hard look at their cosmetics, too. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more.
It's a billion-dollar business. Nail salons with millions of Americans getting their nails painted on a regular basis. But this morning, some raising questions about a possible health risk after the European Union banned a key ingredient found in many gel nail polishes, citing the potential for harm. Studies in animals have raised concern about the chemical known as TPO and its effect on fertility and reproductive health.
This ingredient, TPO, has been found to have negative reproductive effects in animal studies. To my knowledge, there have not been controlled trials in humans, but due to the concern in animal studies, this is what inspired the caution.
TPO remains unregulated in the U.S., but the American Academy of Dermatology recommends against getting gel manicures.
TPO is already a concern because it's a contact allergen that causes allergies in some patients.
TPO causes the polish to harden and gives nails that glossy shine when exposed to UV light, a process known as curing. The Professional Beauty Association telling ABC News this is a regulatory restriction on a single ingredient, not a ban on an entire product category, and that TPO typically represents just 1 to 3% of a cured gel system. The EU has historically taken a more aggressive stance on chemicals and cosmetics, often banning substances that pose even a theoretical risk to human health before studies are done on people.
And again, the research so far has only been done on animals. In the meantime, dermatologists recommend trying hyperallergenic gel that polishes that are TPO-free from their polishes.
Health or beauty? Some customers may soon have to make some hard choices with their nail care. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Another deadly domestic violence situation overnight. Are these kinds of cases becoming more and more common? We'll get some answers. From land to cash, a major investment in Utah's public schools for the new year. Details in just a few minutes. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
We do have a small accident eastbound I-80 in Parley's Canyon near Mountaindale, but it's out of traffic and no delays. Maria?
Chance of showers creeping into the forecast later this week. We'll check KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Florida aims to become the first state to end all vaccine mandates, says the state's Surgeon General, Dr. Joseph Ladapo, alongside Governor Ron DeSantis.
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Mandates set to end, including those for school kids to get shots against measles, polio, and more. The governors of California, Oregon, and Washington say they're forming the West Coast Health Alliance to offer unified, consistent vaccine recommendations based on science. In reaction, a spokesperson for Federal Health and Human Services Department accuses those states of having imposed failed mandates during the COVID pandemic. Calling for full public release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, alleged victims and others at Washington rallies today. The Dollar Tree retail chain says price increases started the past few months, and more products will increase in cost over the rest of the year. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A Utah violinist in ICE custody could be coming home soon. Today we are hearing from his wife.
In circumstances that would make me cry every day, he's still the person who's being strong for our family.
Danae Snow says the last 17 days in ICE custody for her husband, John Shin, have been rough, saying getting that initial call from him.
That was just my worst nightmare.
Danae says John's been having to sleep on a mat on top of metal slats with no blanket, pillows, or access to the outdoors. Now their attorneys tell me he could be out on bond and back in Utah by Friday if all goes well. Danae says she's so excited to bring John home, but says that's thanks in part to all the support from the community.
All of the people around me are what keep me going. I think if I had to go through this alone, I think I would be in a very dark place.
Danae says getting John home is the product of people coming together. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The clock is still ticking for Utah lawmakers to redraw the state's congressional map after a Utah judge denied their appeal to put a stay on the case. The judge ruled that a delay would harm Utah voters. State Senator Todd Weiler tells Inside Sources this move allows them to ask the Supreme Court to take up the case.
We wouldn't ask them to issue a ruling that's going to take them months, of course. We would ask them just to press the pause button and let this play out over the next 2 years.
Lawmakers have until November 1st to create a new map, but that could be pushed back to the 10th. The owner of two of the largest internet pornography sites has agreed to implement a robust program to remove and prevent child sexual abuse material. Utah Attorney General announced that ALO reached the agreement with the state of Utah and the Federal Trade Commission and has agreed to pay a penalty of $5 million to resolve claims of unconscionable and deceptive business practices. Other local stories KSL is following. Pioneer Crossing is getting an upgrade according to UDOT. Flex lanes will be in place by next year. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
Flex lanes alternate traffic flow during peak commute times. So during the morning drive, an extra lane will be available heading eastbound on Pioneer Crossing toward I-15 and Lehigh. And during the evening drive, the same lane will then allow vehicles to go westbound into Saratoga Springs. UDOT spokesman John Gleason says this should alleviate congestion in the area for about a decade.
Gleason says construction to remove the median on Pioneer Crossing begins next week and should be complete in a year. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 250 points, 0.5%, sitting at 45,046. S&P 500 up by 4 points, and the NASDAQ up by 112 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Good speeds on all the Valley freeways. One small accident eastbound I-80 in Parleys. This is near SR 65 Immigration Canyon, but completely out of traffic on the shoulder, not causing any problems. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today is the hottest day of the next 7. A high today of 93, down to 88 tomorrow, then low 80s by the weekend, and a chance of showers starting to creep in on Friday and up to 40% by Saturday. 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The source is where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Overnight, police in West Jordan shot and killed a man after they say a domestic violence call turned into an hours-long standoff. West Jordan Deputy Police Chief Jeremy Robertson says officers worked for hours to convince the man to come outside and surrender, but at some point, multiple officers fired their weapons, killing the man on scene.
We really wanted to negotiate this into a peaceful resolution. And when that doesn't happen, it's traumatizing for everybody involved.
Police claim the man had a rifle. Robertson said several officers on scene had been to this home before. Police said it was a domestic violence situation. Now, you've probably heard of several of these kinds of incidents in the news recently. You'll recall that 2 Tremont and Garland police officers lost their lives responding to a domestic violence call. With that in mind, I asked Kimmy Wolf with the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition whether domestic violence is on the rise.
I do not believe that it is on the rise. Since the expansion of the lethality assessment protocol, or LAP, throughout the state, we have incidences of domestic violence tracked better than ever before. This doesn't mean that the rates of domestic violence have increased. It just means that we are doing more to track cases and are making an attempt to better understand what these numbers can tell us. There's also the media's reporting on domestic violence. We have had some stories that have become extremely public and have impacted entire communities. in the not-too-distant past, domestic violence was viewed as a private matter between two people in a romantic relationship and not something to concern anyone outside the home. What recent high-profile media stories have shown us is that domestic violence should concern all of us.
Right. I was going to say, is this a good thing or a bad thing that these cases are getting more publicity?
I absolutely think as difficult as they are to hear about and to read about, this is really a good thing. Domestic violence is a situation that thrives in silence, and that isn't just some cliche statement. The silence around domestic violence is one of the most impactful tactics of power control an abuser can use.
So when you say thrives in silence, what do you hope someone who's listening that may be in this situation thinks and takes and actually decides to take action?
So, I hope that when a victim does read or hear about these stories, that they don't react by shutting down. They don't react by saying, this is a situation that ended so poorly that I don't dare reach out. Some victims want to think that the current level of violence is as bad as it's going to get. They want to salvage the relationship, but want the violence to end. Unfortunately, these headlines are telling us that the violence often increases in frequency and severity.
Why don't people in these situations utilize the resources that are available more often?
There is such a basic reason that sometimes I even forget to include it as a barrier to some victims reaching out for help. We are assuming that victims know that they're in a domestic violence situation. This is a label that sometimes people don't identify with their own situation. And so many victims feel that they are to blame. If they wouldn't be so difficult, their partner wouldn't get so angry, and so on. This type of gaslighting is one of the most often used control tactics, as is telling the victim that they won't be believed if they say anything.
What resources are available for folks?
So I always like to mention UDVC's 24/7 link line, which is our hotline. That number is 1-800-897-LINK, LINK, or those numbers are 5465. I offer that as a resource because we can connect victims with local resources throughout the state. We can also provide support for family and friends, and we can assist people who use violence with getting help to change their behaviors.
After the case in Tremont where the two officers were killed, do you think police are more apprehensive to respond to these cases?
I honestly think they have always been apprehensive, but they still do their job. They still keep the public safe as possible. I've heard from law enforcement officers that traffic stops and domestic violence calls are the most dangerous for the law enforcement officer. Now, if law enforcement has known that for years, it's time that the public and legislators understand the extreme risk to our law enforcement officers when responding to a domestic call.
When somebody needs to make that call, when should they make it? And you don't want them to fear calling police.
Absolutely. I mentioned the lethality assessment protocol, and I believe that one of the strengths, if not the number one strength of this assessment, is that a responding law enforcement officer, they often can make that connection to a domestic violence service provider right there in the presence of the victim. So not only are they indicating that they believe and support the victim, but they're also telling you that they are concerned for the safety of the victim, so much so that they are going to be right there when the victim connects with a service agency.
Any final thoughts for us?
The media's awareness and reporting of this situation, not only on the facts of a particular case, but really willing to dedicate their time to really understand the nuances of each case. And I think that is something that is so essential in shining spotlight on a situation, not just reporting the most recent news, but going a step further and helping people understand the nuances of this type of crime.
Kimmy Wolf is with the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
More than $100 million will be given to Utah's public schools this year thanks to the Land Trust Program. This program funds school districts around the state using land investments. Now, the amount given to each district depends on things like the number of students. Utah Treasurer Marlo Oakes tells us a little more about where the money comes from.
So the land generates revenue from mineral extraction, from grazing, from real estate. The money that's generated there goes into a long-term investment portfolio, and it's from that investment portfolio that earnings are generated, and there's a payout formula that determines how much money ultimately goes to the school, and that's coming from that investment portfolio.
Oak says the money will be used to fund programs vital to Utah's youth.
It could go for supplementing, in certain areas, like here at Whittier, they're going to be bringing in specialists to help reading for kindergarten through second grade. So really, each school has the opportunity to determine where do they need additional monies. They can supplement that. It might be bringing in extra help from the outside. It might be technology. There's any number of things that they can use the money for.
The money given to school districts is used in a manner decided by a board of parents from the districts, and that's according to the Granite Superintendent, Ben Horsley. He spoke to Inside Sources this morning.
These plans are approved by our school board, but they are developed by our parents at the local level. And in fact, I serve on a school community council as a parent member of that council. And so there's a lot of influence by our parents. This is one of the key ways that parents can get engaged in their child's education and make some vital decisions on how to improve academic outcomes at their local school.
The funding has some limitations, though, mainly that it can't be used for repeated payments, including teacher salaries.
It's not a small amount of money, but as you have indicated, it can't be used for ongoing expenses. It can't be used to improve facilities generally. It has to go towards improving academic outcomes, and our parents get to decide. I think pre-COVID, we saw a lot of schools spending the money on technology to get to a 1-to-1 ratio on Chromebooks and enhanced smart boards and other resources for technology tools in the classroom. Now we're seeing a lot of that going towards actually reducing class size with additional aids, reading programs and interventions, and supports of that nature to really target specific needs at a respective school.
Horsley told Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson just how his district will use the money in the coming school year.
So the allocation that we're seeing published today won't come into effect until next school year. What happens is we have a mini school board, as it were, a school community council made up of mostly parents as required by the law, the principal, and usually a teacher or another employee. So at an elementary school, that's at least 4 parents have to be on the school community council. At the high school level, it's at least 6 parents have to be on the school community council so that the parent voice is the one leading that. The principal is kind of a guide on the side to provide data and other information throughout the school year. They'll look at a variety of different information and data sets to decide and build a plan for next year. Now we're implementing last year's plan that was developed by our parents at the local school level and spending that money that was allocated last year on this year's plan. And now we'll look at next year's allocation starting in March and develop the plan for next year.
Granite School District is among the top 5 most funded districts in this year's decision. These people really know how to spin a yarn, but the only fabric they have is the rich tapestry of storytelling. A preview of the Timpanogos Storytelling Festival coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Nice and quiet on the roads in the valley. If you're traveling Parleys, we had a small accident eastbound I-80 near SR 65 in the Mountaindale area, but out of traffic on the shoulder. Struggling with vision loss? Join the Utah State Library and Division of Services for Blind and Visually Impaired's open house October 2nd, 9 to 2. Call 801-715-6789. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-298-7906. 800-298-7906.
No parades, no confetti, just quiet wins that changed everything.
Real people, real results. Soda weight loss works. Just ask Ramon.
Tying my shoes without grunting, taking stairs without gasping, running around with my kids without needing a break. That's what Soda gave me. In 16 weeks, I dropped 82 pounds.
Let that sink in. He lost 82 pounds. That's amazing.
Think about all that weight lifted off your bones. I owe my life to Soda. That's not hyperbole. With Soda, you don't feel alone. You get your own nutritionist guiding you every step along the way.
What are you waiting for? Just imagine your friends and family's reactions when you show up at holiday parties 30, 40, 50 pounds lighter. Get started now for the best season of your life with our partner program. Because when you join now, your partner joins for free.
Go to SodaWeightLoss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. SodaWeightLoss.com. SodaWeightLoss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The stage is set. The curtains are about to be drawn for the Timpanogos Storytelling Festival. Professional storytellers from across the country will be entertaining the crowd in both day and nighttime performances.
I'm a very superstitious person in some things. For example, recently I cut my hand really bad. I had to go to the doctor and get stitches. And the doctor put in 13 stitches. And when she was done, I said, "Doc, you either have to take one out or put one more in." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Because 13 is bad luck." And she looked at this wound and she said, "Don't you think you've already had the bad luck?"
Award-winning storyteller Bill Lepp and the festival's Karen Acerson join me to talk about the festival and the art of storytelling. And Karen says the Storytelling Festival has come a long way since its inception in 1989.
We started in Karen Ashton's backyard in Orem.
We put up some little tents. We had 3 storytellers because she had gone back to Jonesboro, Tennessee to go to the National Storytelling Festival and thought, wow, what an amazing thing. Let's bring it to Utah and raise some money for the Orem Children's Library. And now we are at Thanksgiving Point in the Ashton Gardens. And it's a beautiful place. People come from all over the country to hear our professional storytellers come and tell stories.
Kind of describe what that looks like. If someone's never been, what does it look like?
We have great big giant tents with lots of chairs in there. There's a stage, and the storyteller gets up, and it's a performing art. You don't read out of a book for this kind of festival. They are very much performers. They tell all kinds of tales, historical, tall tales, jack tales, whatever you can imagine, they are telling those stories. And they're family stories, so you can bring the whole family. We have evening shows where you can go into the Ashton Gardens Amphitheater and hear stories into the evening, and that's really magical.
Okay, and you brought with you a professional storyteller today. So first of all, introduce us to your guest.
This is Bill Lepp. He is one of our favorite storytellers. We can't say we have favorites, but he really is. He is the 5-time champion of the West Virginia Liars competition.
First of all, how did you get started in storytelling?
Well, I grew up in a family where the truth was fluid. Anybody could pretty much say anything, and it was always up to the listener to decide whether or not it was true. And none of it was malicious. It was just a way of sitting around the Thanksgiving supper table or whatever with my uncles and aunts and cousins and grandparents and people just telling stories. So I just grew up in a very storied family where
big personalities.
Yeah, and exaggeration was just accepted and expected.
So, Bill, describe your process for us. Obviously, there's writing.
Yeah, most of my stories are humorous Appalachian-based tall tales, and so they start out with some little idea. I tell a story where a kid climbs the rope in gym and then climbs into the rafters of the ceiling of the gymnasium at school and lives up there for a while in protest. And so that's probably a 25-minute story. It all started out with just remembering that when I was in elementary school, we had that rope hanging from the ceiling that we were supposed to climb. And it was a great embarrassment for me because I could get my hands on the rope and my feet on the knot, but that's as high as I could get. And so I thought this is a perfect place for a story to come from. And so the idea will just float around in my head for a while until it collides with some other idea that I have. And that's usually the point where I sit down and I start to write my stories out. And I write them. Most of my stories I've written down. And then as through the writing process, a lot of times it takes me 6 months to write a story. Through the writing process, I learn how I want to say it, and then I get up on stage and I say it out loud and see how that works. And then it takes another usually 6 months of telling it out loud before it really comes into its solid form. And then by then I'm working on something new, and so the repertoire just keeps growing, hopefully.
How theatrical are you on the stage?
I think you'd have to ask the audience that. I try not to be too theatrical because I think storytelling is more of a conversation with the audience than a theater production. So I have a microphone on a stand. My feet almost never move. My hands are all over the place. My hands and arms are all over the place. And I don't really do voices. I mean, I'll change the tone so that if I'm having a conversation in my story, you can tell that it's 2 different people talking, but I'm not doing super voices or accents or things like that. And part of that is just comes from sitting around the table with my cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents and just telling each other stories. We're talking to each other. People are interjecting things. We're asking questions, and it's just a conversation. So I'm trying to have more of a conversation with my audience than do a stage show.
So what is the importance of storytelling?
There's a lot of importances, obviously, for storytelling. I mean, I believe it was created to teach. It was a method to teach people. If we teach through narrative, then people walk away having learned something, but they also have a nice little case to carry the lesson around. And, Little Red Riding Hood, story like that, teaches you something, but it is presented in a way that helps you remember it. But then beyond that, when I'm telling a story, a lot of my stories start with something that actually happened and then go from there. but I can see my audience members looking at each other, kind of nodding their heads. Oh, I remember that rope in school, or I remember doing something like that when I was in high school. And then on the way home, the parents are talking about things that they did, or the grandparents, and the children are learning from what their parents did, and the kids are telling stories about things that they did. And so the whole family is just talking to each other and sharing these stories with one another, so that they're perpetuating their family stories, or from where they came from and who they are. And then a lot of my stories, the main goal for most of my stories is just to have fun. I mean, there's some lessons that get tucked into them, but I like to just have my audience laugh for an hour. And when we're at the Ashton Gardens in the amphitheater and there's 5,000 people, obviously there's a wide variety of political views, religious views, personal views, whatever, and that place could go off if you had the wrong conversation. So I like to just get up there and tell something funny that everybody can agree this is funny, and for 45 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is, we're all just laughing together. We're just having community where we can all just forget about everything else that's going on in the world, forget about all our worries, personal and worldly, and just for 10 minutes or 45 minutes, just 5,000 of us laugh together.
Award-winning storyteller Bill Lepp and the festival's Karen Acerson joining me to talk about the festival. The Timpanogos Storytelling Festival draws listeners from across the nation, Canada, and many other countries. Now, the tale begins this weekend in the Ashton Gardens at Thanksgiving Point. In the next hour of Midday, we'll get a closer look at an AI program that aims to protect kids on or near school buses. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A multi-million-dollar settlement announced today between the state of Utah, the FTC, and the owner of several major adult websites. The state's attorney general saying that this action sends an important message to the pornography industry.
If you think you can distribute sea salmon and profit by exploiting our children, think again. We will find you. We will hold you accountable.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, September 3rd. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get more details on the settlement and what it means for Utahns across the state. Also this hour,
regardless of who has contracted the illness, it could be contracted by anybody in the county.
One person now dead, several others hospitalized due to West Nile virus. What officials want you to know. But first, our top stories. The clock is still ticking for Utah lawmakers to redraw the state's congressional map after a Utah judge denied their appeal to put a stay on the case. The judge ruled that a delay would harm Utah voters. State Senator Todd Weiler tells Inside Sources this move allows them to ask the Supreme Court to take up the case.
We wouldn't ask them to issue a ruling that's going to take them months, of course. We would ask them just to press the pause button and let this play out over the next 2 years.
Lawmakers have until November 1st to create a new map, but that could be pushed back to the 10th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The state of Florida is now working to phase out all childhood vaccine mandates. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis announced their state-level Make America Healthy Again campaign. The state's Surgeon General stated that people should have the right to decide what they put in their bodies. However, Democratic leaders in the state say this will lead to a public health disaster. A federal judge has told Google to share some user data with its competitors. The tech world is celebrating it as a win, and shares of Alphabet, Google's parent company, are up.
The court had already decided in what was a landmark antitrust case last year that Google was a monopoly in search, that it monopolized the search engine. Basically, 90% of searches are through Google, and searching online is basically synonymous with Googling it. It has its own word, but the strictest penalties that Google could have faced under this court's decision, it did not face, and that's why you're seeing this positive reaction today.
That is ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. The Powerball jackpot has now grown to $1.4 billion in tonight's drawing. That is the 6th largest U.S. lottery jackpot. In Philadelphia, Sharon Taylor says she's already planning on how to spend that money.
Set up a trust fund for my grandchildren. Don't tell anybody where I'm at. And take care of my family and my church. I'm definitely going to take care of my church.
Taylor says that she's confident she'll win. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down by nearly 250 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 45,046. S&P 500 up by 4 points. The NASDAQ up by 111 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
We've had a good drive on all the Valley freeways, including I-15 both directions between Ogden and Provo. No accidents and no delays. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
93 degrees for a high today before things start to cool off. 88 tomorrow and then into the low 80s by Saturday and Sunday, but then a slight chance of showers on both those days. 90 degrees, mostly cloudy at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but can't because you're in pain? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help you get out of pain.
I just had difficulty walking when I had the pain. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Are you buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let foot, knee, or back pain get in the way of you staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week, pain-free.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you with high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Walk-ins are always welcome. Make this the year you get active and healthy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
The owner of 2 of the largest internet pornography sites has agreed to implement a robust program to remove and prevent child sex abuse material. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Today, the Utah Attorney General announced that ALO reached the agreement with the state of Utah and the Federal Trade Commission, agreeing to pay a penalty of $5 million to resolve claims of, quote, unconscionable and deceptive business practices. Joining me now live is Attorney General Derek Brown. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Thanks, Maria. Appreciate you having me on.
Okay, real quick, and remembering that we're on radio, so it needs to stay appropriate, but what is ALO?
ALO is the owning entity, the umbrella company that owns literally hundreds of pornographic websites on the web, and they're really the largest online purveyor of pornography. And so in terms of the reason that we have been kind of targeting them is because of their status as the 800-pound gorilla in the market. And so our hope is that this historic settlement that we announced today is something that all the other folks in this industry will pay attention to and will start thinking about. And ideally, they'll implement the same policies and procedures that ALO has agreed to do as well.
So tell us more about the allegations against them.
Well, as we know, the First Amendment protects your speech and expressive activity, but it doesn't extend to what we call CSAM, or child sex abuse material, children who are underage or people who don't give consent to be on the website. And so that's really what we're focusing on, is that there have been thousands of videos and images on these sites of both underage minors as well as individuals who did not give their consent. And so the First Amendment does not protect that material. And so what we've done is we have negotiated a settlement with them where they will essentially change their business model and practice and proactively verify that anyone who is on one of their sites is in fact 18 or older, and they proactively verify that the person has given written consent. So this is really the first time that this has ever taken place, and this really is changing and forcing a change in an industry that is long overdue for change.
So as part of this agreement, are they admitting fault?
No, but they are admitting that they will change their process. We have filed a suit with the federal district court here in Utah today, and we will have a judge overseeing the terms of the agreement. And so they will implement a very robust policy that basically is them going out and proactively verifying. And so our hope is that others in the market will take notice, and this will become sort of the best approach to operate in the market. And so, this is really, we're dealing with children and those who have been victimized and continue to be victimized by this material. And so I think this is a phenomenal result, not just for the monetary penalty, but for the fact that we are forcing a change in an entire industry, and it's starting here in Utah.
Derek, are there some things in place to keep them accountable?
There are actually. We have, as part of the agreement, there will be an independent auditor and an organization, a third-party organization that will audit the information, and they will produce regular reports. They'll report to us. The courts will oversee this process, and they will verify that this information, or the individuals that are part of the site, are in fact giving their consent and old enough to do so. And so, yes, the answer is we're not just taking their word for it, but there will be a third party to make sure that they do exactly what they say they will do.
How big a problem do you think this is for the state of Utah?
Well, it's very much a problem, and the reality is this is this owning entity that we have negotiated this agreement with. Their sites have collectively several 100 million visits every month. So it's not just one of the largest sites in terms of pornography, but it is one of the largest sites on the internet, period. And so we know that there have been individuals who have been victimized, and we know that this impacts people here in Utah. And so, I do have in my office what we call our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, where we prosecute for possession of this kind of material. But what this is today is another tool in our toolbox, the non-criminal side, but the civil side. And so civilly, we're going after them, extracting a settlement, and forcing them to essentially change what it is they do. So I'm really pleased with the result, and we've had 4 of our attorneys that have worked with the Department of Consumer Protection specifically on this issue, and they've done a fantastic job.
Derek, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
That is Attorney General Derek Brown. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with a Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
One person has died and another 2 people have been hospitalized after contracting West Nile virus in Davis County. Maggie Matthews, an epidemiologist with the Davis County Health Department, says mosquitoes that are infected with West Nile aren't localized to any one spot.
Currently, our mosquito abatement program, they look for pools of mosquitoes throughout the county, and they have detected positive West Nile pools all throughout the county. So regardless of who has contracted the illness, it could be contracted by anybody in the county.
She says their teams are doing what they can to stop the spread of the virus.
The mosquito abatement program, they go and do part of what they do is surveillance, so trying to figure out what potential, we call them arbovirus, diseases are potentially out there, so that would include West Nile virus. So they're just checking those pools to see what diseases can potentially be spread to humans from those mosquitoes. Additionally, we work very closely with them at the health department to notify them of areas that people have been infected with West Nile so that they can increase their fogging efforts in those areas to try and reduce the population of those mosquitoes.
Utah County is also reporting 5 human cases of the virus, but Matthews says not everyone who contracts West Nile will have symptoms.
About 80% of people that contract West Nile virus either will have no symptoms at all or might have like a mild fever and might not feel quite great. And then the other like 19%, they'll have more severe symptoms. So that's going to be more of like nausea, vomiting, having a high fever, might have like muscle aches or pains or joint pain. And then about 1% of people that contract West Nile virus, they will get that neuroinvasive. And so that's going to cause more severe problems with the central nervous system.
Matthews says the best thing that you can do right now to protect yourself to avoid being bit by mosquitoes. That means wear insect repellent, remove standing water from around your home, and wear long sleeves and pants when you're outside. It has a cult following across the South, and now the cartoon beaver is coming to Utah with its snacks, gas, and clean bathrooms. Your comments on the new Buc-ee's coming to Springville after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Ricky?
Maria, we've had a pretty quiet drive on the Valley freeways for most of the afternoon, but right now we are starting to see a little bit of busy and slower traffic westbound I-215 southbound approaching State Street in Murray. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show September 11th through the 14th at Mountain America Expo Center. Visit UtahRVSupershow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit HotTubAndSwimSpaSale.com.
At Peach Windows and Doors, they help homeowners stay in the homes they love while upgrading to the elegance, efficiency, and natural light of today. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, their clients know Peach Windows and Doors deliver what they promise.
I wanted to replace standard-size French doors with a large custom sliding door. The update required checking a weight-bearing wall. Plus, I wanted a couple of different styles of windows. The new sliding door created a much brighter and open look. Peach was so helpful along the way with recommendations and ideas, and the installers were efficient and respectful of my space. I was thrilled with Peach Windows and Doors.
Visit Peach Windows and Doors Salt Lake Showroom. Schedule a free in-home visit or explore more at peachwindowsanddoors.com. peachwindowsanddoors.com, or just call them at 801-566-1255. Peach Windows and Doors, where amazing home transformations begin.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Every year, dozens of children are hit or nearly hit by cars illegally passing school buses. Now, one firm is harnessing the power of AI to change that. ABC's Brad Milkey has more.
Kids are back at school and back on school buses, if they can get on them safely, that is. Over the years, we have seen countless stories of children being hit or almost hit by impatient drivers whizzing past yellow buses. Many of them now include little blinking red stop signs that come out when they pick up students to signal to everyone, pause for a second while kids cross the road. And yet, over and over, the cars don't stop. Sometimes it's a driver on the opposite side of the road, not expecting an unaware child to dart across the street. Others will brazenly speed right past where the kids are standing and waiting.
This car nearly hitting 2 children waiting for the bus in Indiana earlier this year.
So recently, our transportation correspondent, Gio Benitez, took a ride on a public school bus in Lower Merion School District outside Philadelphia, where Terry Robinson shuttles kids to class every day.
Terry, how often are you seeing people just drive by with that stop sign out?
Multiple times every day.
Lower Merion is the latest school district to partner with this firm called Bus Patrol. What Bus Patrol does is they put these little surveillance cameras all over your bus, and they automatically detect traffic infractions when that stop sign becomes active. No one has to flag the driver, no one has to take notes. This AI system will simply record the footage, grab the license plate info, and send all that information to the local police department. Upon review, the PD may issue a ticket, which in Pennsylvania is $300 for a first-time violation, which Narberth Borough PD Chief John String says he plans to do.
This system allows us to be at every stop for every school bus. So it's really going to effectively increase how we can enforce these violations.
And this is the more controversial part of all this. Like, no one wants to see another child on their way to school hit by a car, but ticketing based on automated surveillance is where drivers might feel ill at ease. You know, red light cameras, those have been around for years. Well, this would be like that at thousands upon thousands of moving locations, tracking multiple infractions.
And I gotta tell you, I've been looking at the school buses here all morning long. It is very hard to see these cameras. So you really don't know which school districts have them because you don't exactly know what to look for. These buses don't look any different than any other.
The data bear out how revolutionary these devices can be. City. In nearby Marple Newtown School District outside Philly, the police department has issued more than 2,000 tickets to drivers passing school buses in just the last year since they installed this system. When the city of Philadelphia installed AI power cameras on 7 of their public transit buses, they recorded 30,000 cars blocking bus lanes in barely 2 months. Now, should every one of those drivers be ticketed? Maybe. But after decades of drivers associating citations with watchful humans, you'll now have to get used to being watched by the unblinking eye of a camera that's already received a lot of schooling.
Some say it's an innovative way to end easily preventable deaths, but others think it's a bit too 1984 for their liking. Here locally, a downtown Salt Lake City alleyway is getting new life as a permanent public art gallery. Local companies have donated $20,000 to make the exhibit permanent, with rotating works planned for years to come. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera spoke with photographer Kelly Freshman about her Sonder Salt Lake City project.
Everybody that we meet has just as unique, complicated, sad, happy story as we do. And so as we go about life, most people are background characters. And so it's just trying to bring the question of curiosity and wanting to know more about the people around us, especially in this super divided time.
Freshman says her project is all about sparking curiosity and inclusivity through art in the heart of the city.
I am interviewing people and photographing them from around Salt Lake that are just day-to-day people in Salt Lake. They work in Salt Lake, they go to school, they, work at coffee shops, open their own small businesses, just the people that make our city run day-to-day. And there's about 3 companies that came together to give me a grant to create a permanent gallery in the Shilaos Parkway. And so right now, Garth from Franklin Woodworking is building giant frames that are going to be built up in that alleyway. And we'll have the photos displayed. We'll have QR codes where people can read the stories of these people from Salt Lake, along with an invitation that says, learn more about these people, open your mind. I'm hoping that when people walk through the gallery, they will see people, they will read about them, and then leave with a curiosity about the people around them. Kind of see what makes Salt Lake City so great is the mix of people we have, not just the terrible things, not just the great things, but the whole mix in between of all of us struggling to make it, following our dreams, and making things happen.
She says she's really happy with the variety of people that she's been able to interview and photograph for the gallery.
We have everything from young people coming from immigrant families, building their own small businesses. We have a guy named Bill that was an ombudsman for Salt Lake City, and is one of the people that helped push the Tracks project clear up 4th South, creating our neighborhoods to work in a functional way, and discussing that with him and what did you have to do to make this happen. So it's really curious stories and really interesting to just hear all sides of, I have a younger girl that is in school and she wants to put on little plays. She's an artist, she just has these big creative dreams. And so just kind of learning from each person, what do you give to Salt Lake and what do you take from Salt Lake? Yeah, I'm just hoping to spark a sense of curiosity for the people around us as they go through the gallery.
The Sonder SLC project opens in about a month in the Vasilios Priscus Walkway downtown. The gallery features portraits of everyday people, from students to small business owners, paired with their stories. The iconic cartoon beaver is coming to Springville. That's right, Buc-ee's is coming to Utah. It will be located at about 1400 North and 2600 West, just off I-15. The one scheduled to open here will be about 74,000 square feet. That's huge. It'll have 120 fuel pumps and several EV charging stations, and it will bring about 200 full-time jobs to the area. Now, Buc-ee's has a major cult following, but why? We turn to social media for some help.
It's time to explain Buc-ee's to non-Texans. So first off, it's a huge gas station, yet somehow all of them are always full. They're all full. The mascot is a cute cartoon beaver, but creepy 3D beaver. And they put his image on pretty much every single product known to man. Here's a shirt, dog bowl, old truck, whatever this is, river tube, Hawaiian shirt, but Texan, athletic shirt, kid's shirt, but 80s, literally on himself, crayons, neon pillow, child's bib, socks, all of the magnets, himself again, knockoff animal crackers, a bikini. Like, I can just keep going. The products are endless. But it's also a really great store if you want to decorate your house like you live in Waco. It's got all the basic Waco lady signs, wine, the whole shebang. Wouldn't be a home without a home sign where the O is a Texas. But yeah, a cooler with his face on it. They've got literally every snack known to man. And I'm not exaggerating, like, it's endless. And then they get you on the way out the door with all these other random things that you didn't know you needed, but you totally do. And of course, the bathroom's amazing. I wasn't gonna go and shoot video in the bathroom because what? Anyway, we don't really know why we like this place. It's incredible. The beaver is amazing. He's got everything. So Buc-ee's is where it's at. That's all I've got.
Okay, you can go onto any social media platform and just search for Buc-ee's to see the endless examples of why people love this mega convenience store. There are just so many videos. It's a place I have never been. Now, we asked you to chime in on Facebook and tell us why you are excited for Buc-ee's to finally make its way to the Beehive State. And here's what a few folks had to say. Michelle says her husband wears his Buc-ee's shirt here in Utah at least once a week, and it's a conversation starter everywhere that they go. She says they can be running errands, and at least 2 or 3 people will shout, Buc-ee's, and Kevin will stop and talk to them, and it's an instant connection. So she says they are so excited that Buc-ee's is coming to Utah. Brad says, I think it's overhyped. It's a gas station. Dennis responded to Brad saying, that just means that you haven't been there yet. Annette says they went to one of these on their way to Oklahoma a few months ago. She said it was awesome. Everyone's going to love it. She said that they had to hit it on their way back, too. The food was delicious. The bathrooms were huge, and all the family was friendly. They loved watching the cooks inside the center, all cooking together and chanting a cool work song. And the food was in a circle around them. She says, you took what you wanted and paid somewhere else. Michelle says, in Utah is her home state, moved to Louisiana in 2001, and they're finally getting a Buc-ee's next year. She says they'll drive all the way to Texas just to shop there and can't wait to take her family to the Utah Buc-ee's. Wow. I can't believe how many of you are so excited for Buc-ee's, and I guess I should be excited and that I'm getting a chance to see Buc-ee's. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. The state announcing a plan to build a kind of homeless campus north of the Salt Lake Airport. Pushback from federal judges and several city leaders across the country as President Trump pushes for National Guard troops to enter various cities and enforce the law. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A new crash in Murray. This is westbound I-215 southbound approaching State Street, now out of traffic. Maria?
KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Florida aims to end all vaccine mandates, even for school kids. State Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo.
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Former CDC Chief Dr. Richard Besser says Florida's move puts children at risk and any others around them with underlying medical conditions. Survivors of the 2023 Maine mass shooting are suing the federal government, saying the Army should have stopped one of its reservists from carrying out the massacre. 18 people killed, including Cynthia Young's husband and child.
Some of us have lost the ability to feel safe or secure. But one thing we all lost was our trust in those who are responsible.
For the first time since April 2021, unemployed Americans outnumber job openings, says a Labor Department report. It says employers posted 7.2 million job openings at the end of July, fewer than predicted. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah leaders are unveiling plans for a first-of-its-kind homeless services campus. The state is set to buy 16 acres just northeast of the airport, and the campus would add 1,300 shelter beds and connect people to recovery, housing, and employment services. The area is far west of downtown with no easy walking routes and busy roads like Redwood. State Homeless Coordinator Wayne Niederhauser says that transportation is a top priority.
We have a shuttle system right now that we work between homeless resource centers in Salt Lake County, and so this is just a matter of expanding it.
Construction is expected to begin next year, and the doors will open in 2027. Other local stories we are following. We're hearing from people in West Jordan today who spent hours watching a SWAT standoff in their neighborhood. The situation finally ended with the suspect being shot and killed by police. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Joy Newbold was teaching piano lessons when police showed up in force, followed by a loudspeaker.
Come to the front door with empty hands and your hands in the air. And that kept going over and over and over.
That continued for hours.
And then as the night went on, then we started hearing big booms.
Van Walter also lives in the neighborhood. He's the local bishop, so he said he'd been calling neighbors, making sure everyone was all right.
At about 9:30, we heard just a lot of gunfire. Sounded like a big reel of firecrackers going off.
Both say the home where the shooting happened had recently gotten a new set of renters, and a homeowner told them an unwanted guest had arrived and would not leave, which is what led to a call to police. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
The man who was allegedly driving the wrong way on I-15 in Beaver County yesterday to escape from police is now facing 13 charges. Police documents say that authorities tried to pull over 25-year-old Adarian Morell in a black Lexus SUV for speeding, but he's accused of fleeing and then going the wrong way up I-15. Police were eventually able to pin the SUV to get him to stop. Now, they later realized the car was stolen from California and had drugs in it. Taking a look at your money at this moment, stock market, the Dow ending the day down by nearly 250 points, 0.5%, sitting at 45,046. S&P 500 up by 4 points, and the Nasdaq, it was up by 112 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account, and here's Ricky Meese.
No real delays on your Salt Lake County freeways, but we do have a crash. It's out of traffic on the south belt of I-215 going westbound at State Street. Look for that over to the shoulder. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The high today is expected to be 93 degrees. Things starting to cool off for the rest of the week and down into the low 80s by the weekend with a slight chance of showers. Right now, mostly cloudy, 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Today, join KSL News Radio at NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show today from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Breaking news, police tell us a young child died in Vail earlier this week after they were left in a hot car. Washington County says authorities were called to the restaurant on Main Street Monday night and found the unresponsive 3-year-old. The child ended up passing away at the scene. They say while they do not know the cause of death at this time, they do suspect the child had been left in that vehicle before their death. You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A major step forward today in the goal of ending homelessness. The state announcing a plan to build a campus of services for those experiencing homelessness. It'll be built on 15 acres of land just west of I-215 and north of the Salt Lake International Airport. State Homeless Coordinator Wayne Niederhauser joined me to talk about the new campus, which is designed to complement the existing homeless resource centers.
Yeah, it's an effort that we've been engaged in for several months, probably even a couple of years. We recognized a couple of years ago when we were providing temporary beds up towards 1,000 through the winter and extending through the summer that we needed additional shelter beds so that we weren't having to ramp up every winter. And so we knew the system needed those beds, but we wanted them to be more than just beds. We want this to be more transformative for people having opportunities and access to things that will help them on a pathway to thriving. That's mental health, addiction, other types of services and opportunities. We've this isn't a new idea. Haven of Hope in San Antonio, Nevada Cares in Reno, they use a campus model. I know there's some concern out there about are we switching from the scattered sites to a more centralized situation? Actually, there are pros and cons to both. And with the centralized campus, we'll have the positives of both remote sites or scattered sites and a central campus.
This particular parcel of land that has been purchased, nearly 16 acres near 2250 North and 2200 West, describe why that was selected.
Well, we knew we needed a large piece of property, and there's not a lot of parcels that big in the area where we were looking, which was the Salt Lake County and mainly towards the north, and so we knew that it'd be difficult to find a large piece of property. The parcels that are left are usually they have some kind of an issue like environmental. It's an old landfill. There's a lot of that out there. It has some environmental or seismic issues. What about wetlands? And although this property it does have a small amount of wetlands, it's something we'll be able to mitigate. And so once we did our due diligence on this property, it marked all the boxes for us, and so we are now under contract with Salt Lake City to purchase that property, and there'll still be more work to be done. There's still more work to be done where we'll need to fund both the construction and the operations of a campus.
You described the number of services you hope to provide, but could you kind of describe the facility, the campus for us? How many people do you hope to help with this campus, and how do you envision this hub?
Our preliminary studies is that we'll have, initially, 1,300 additional beds. We know we need at least 1,000 and more because we have a fairly significant unsheltered population in Salt Lake County, and we want to have places for everybody to go. Society should not accept that people are living in places unfit for human habitation because of the sanitation issues, the criminal activity that usually goes with that. People are abused. We don't want people living in those places. We want to have a place for everybody. That's kind of the genesis of having these additional beds. But we don't want them we just don't want to shelter folks either. We want to give them the opportunities they need to get on a pathway to get out of homelessness.
I am trying to envision this particular parcel that's out on 2200 West and 2520 North. Are there a lot of homes? I mean, how do homeowners feel about this?
Well, there are some homeowners there, but there's not very many. It's more of a commercial area. I-215 is right next to this property, adjacent, and there's some warehouses that are adjacent to the property. There are some residents that are a little further to the north. And of course, people are going to be concerned, but we're concerned also. We want to make sure that this is not only a safe place for people that are in the campus and receiving those services. We want to make sure that it's safe for the surrounding neighborhood and community.
I'm trying to envision how people would get out to this campus. You mentioned I-215, but how would those who are unsheltered, how would they get there?
We have a shuttle system right now that we work between the homeless resource centers in Salt Lake County. We have how many? Like 6 different shelters now, from Sandy to Salt Lake. We do run a shelter system, so we're experienced in the transportation of people around the campus. And so this is just a matter of expanding it to that location just northeast of the airport.
They hope to start construction next year and have the campus up and running in 2027. State lawmakers who represent the west side of Salt Lake say they are concerned by the lack of public input in this decision. Senator Luz Escamilla and Representative Sandra Hollins issued a statement saying, in part, as leaders and champions on issues of homelessness, we know how critical it is for our unhoused neighbors to have access to safe shelter and the services that they need to regain stability. This campus is an important step in addressing the state's homelessness crisis, but it must move forward in partnership with the people who live alongside it. They continued, our community has always been committed to helping those in need. It's central to who we are, and we're proud of this. At the same time, this neighborhood has historically carried a disproportionate share of the state's social and environmental burdens. I wanted to get more perspectives on this announcement, so I spoke to Bill Tibbetts, the Deputy Executive Director for Crossroads Urban Center, and he says there are a lot of details still unknown and a lot of unanswered questions.
Well, we've been wondering we knew that there was going to be a site announced sometime this year, and so it's good to see where it is. It's not as distant as some of the other locations. I think the concern that there are a couple concerns. I mean, one is that none of the construction of the new facility isn't fully funded, and the services that would be provided are also not funded, and so when they built the shelters we have right now, there was a talk about having a lot of services on site that ended up not happening, and so I think it's up in the air how transformational it is. I think one really big problem is that the nearest bus stop to the shelter is 2.5 miles away. I think if people have to walk for an hour to get to a homeless shelter, they're not going to go there. And so the transportation is really something they're going to need to figure out in a way that works consistently.
I asked that question earlier today of the homeless coordinator, and he said that there is a shuttle service that would be used.
There's a shuttle service that connects the homeless shelters that we already have.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Mm-hmm.
And it provides a surprisingly few number of rides each day. Scaling it up is going to be hard. I think what we'd like to see at Crossroads Urban Center is to have the UTA route that runs along Redwood Road run further north so that people can use that to access, to connect into the UTA system, and then to have some sort of pass program for people so that they can get everywhere they need to go and not just to a place where they'll end up having to use the bus anyway.
Bill, will Crossroads be among the service providers for this campus?
No, we have two emergency food pantries where we're serving over 13,000 people a month, but we just serve, and so a lot of the people we serve are homeless, but we are not, we're not going to be running a big shelter like that.
Right. I understand your concerns, but if this turned out the way they had planned, isn't this a good thing?
Oh, I think nobody should be sleeping outside in the winter, right? And so coming up with shelter beds is good. I just think realistically, there are going to be, you want people at a shelter to leave the shelter, to look for work, to look for apartments. And so it's really important that you have that transportation is one of the most important services people need.
Bill Tibbetts is the Deputy Executive Director for the Crossroads Urban Center. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
The eyes of the nation have fallen on D.C. in recent weeks after President Trump deployed National Guard troops to quell a purported crime wave. The troops have been reported to have cut down on crime by a sizable amount. On the other hand, some have seen troops doing things like landscaping and cleaning trash out of parks. This deployment has been seen by many national leaders as unnecessary, and some, like Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, are concerned that they may be next.
No militarized force in the city of Chicago!
Though these leaders have been emphatic in their desire to keep the troops out, the president seems undeterred. ABC's Stephen Portnoy tells us more.
In the Oval Office yesterday, the president was asked about all the things he's been saying about Chicago and whether he would send the National Guard there.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in.
Now, mind you, in Illinois, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, insist there is not an emergency.
No, I will not call the president asking him to send troops to Chicago. I've made that clear already.
The first recent instance of troop deployment came in Los Angeles to pacify anti-ICE riots occurring in that city in June. The move was vocally criticized by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass as well as California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now the order has been deemed illegal by a federal judge.
This ruling came from a California-based federal judge who said that the president has violated a federal law that dates back to 1878. It's called the Posse Comitatus Act. And generally speaking, it prohibits the use of the military for domestic law enforcement. The judge, Charles Breyer, said that when the president sent the National Guard and active duty Marines into Los Angeles, he willfully violated the law and had the troops do those things that police generally do, such as setting up perimeters, traffic control, things that, according to the judge, specifically contradicted the military's own training materials that point out to the troops what the law does not allow them to do.
The judge has taken a scrutinizing look at the incident in California, trying to determine what exactly the purpose of the deployment was.
Judge Breyer held a trial this summer in which he actually heard testimony from senior military officials and asked, what it is that the troops were doing. And he says that because they were used to set up protective perimeters and traffic blockades, engage in crowd control, and otherwise, in the words of his opinion, demonstrate a military presence in and around Los Angeles, the president, in sending the troops, has violated this 1878 law.
Though a federal judge has looked at this case with disfavor, it's still possible for a court to allow the president's actions.
The Ninth Circuit Court, which oversees the judge is based in California, had previously allowed the president to continue the federalization of National Guard troops in California. That was the subject of a lawsuit that was brought by Governor Newsom. The Ninth Circuit did not get in the way of that, and so it's possible that on appeal, the Ninth Circuit may rule in Trump's favor. Either way, you might expect this to go all the way up to the Supreme Court.
The struggle between federal and state powers will be a long and complicated road, and we'll only know what to expect for sure as those events unfold. An icon of Utah speed history coming soon to a new Museum of Utah. We'll get a preview after the break, but first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
They do have the crash in Murray moved over to the right shoulder at the bottom of the ramp. This is westbound I-215 southbound at State Street. The ramp is open, but look for all those vehicles on the shoulder and some early onset slowdowns southbound I-15 at the south interchange into Midday and Sandy. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
There's a photo my wife took of me sitting crisscross on the floor playing Legos with my boys. Might not sound like much, but back in 2020, I couldn't get down there without pain, let alone enjoy it. After 16 weeks on soda and 82 pounds gone, that picture means everything. It's proof that I'm not just present in my kid's life, but I'm active, engaged, and I'm healthy. Soda didn't just give me a plan. It gave me a partner, a personal nutritionist who helped me every step. Through grocery store trips, family vacations, late night cravings, you name it. If you're a parent who wants to be there, not just someday, but right now, go to sodaweightloss.com. Click the Request a Nutritionist callback. That's sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
We have breaking news here on Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A federal judge in Boston has ordered the reversal of the Trump administration's cuts to more than $2.6 billion in funding research grants for Harvard University. Now, the judge sided with the Ivy League school in ruling that the cuts amounted to illegal retaliation for Harvard's rejection of White House demands for changes to its governance and policies. An icon of Utah history is finding a new home in the soon-to-open Museum of Utah. The Mormon Meteor 3 is a modified Duesenberg car that set multiple land speed records as it blazed across the Salt Flats. Museum director Tim Glenn says the car drove its way right into Utahns' hearts.
It's from the 1930s, and a Salt Lake resident, Ab Jenkins, who was this sort of adventure seeker in Salt Lake City, set some amazing records in this car that he commissioned in partnership with several other folks, and it was a record-holding car, still is to this day, but for several decades held all of the speed records out on the Salt Flats.
These records were not only important to the world of motoring, but to the citizens of Utah. News of Jenkins' achievements spread far across the country, putting Utah Salt Flats in front of audiences everywhere.
I mean, this car, for so many people, is emblematic of sort of this first time that, in many ways, Utah was put on a global map. This is one of the first times that people were really paying attention to some of the accomplishments and things that are in the state of Utah. And so, you can imagine kids around the country in movie theaters sort of seeing the newsreels of Ab Jenkins setting a new record out on the Salt Flats. So many people loved the car, and it was worth restoring it for the people of Utah.
The car, which sat in the state capitol building for so many years, has been restored to near mint condition. Glad said, while they may not be sending the car to the museum at its record-breaking speeds, there will still be opportunities to listen to its iconic engine.
The process to get it from where it currently is today to the Museum of Utah, yes, it will. The wheels will move. It is, such a rare and important artifact. We're not just going to drive it up State Street, although there have been, discussions. We'll put it on a trailer and we'll move it in. The really fun thing, though, is that, because the engine was rebuilt and it's such a rare engine, we want to keep it in good operating order. And so we will have to sort of semi-regularly pull the car out of the building, start it up, and hear the engine roar just to get things moving and keep it in working order. So that'll be a really fun event whenever we do that up at the Capitol complex.
I don't know. It would be pretty cool to see that car drive up State Street. Now, your chance to see this legendary car will come in the summer of 2020.